Hi, my name is Scott, and I'm the graphic designer here at Request. Today we're going to go over the mechanics of putting together a digital sign using the Harmony Show Builder. In the world of Harmony, we refer to digital signage presentations as shows, and the Show Builder is our online file management and signage layout software. The Harmony Management System and Show Builder are completely web-based tools that you can access from anywhere. If you haven't had a chance to log in and dig around yet, hopefully this video will make it easier for you when you do. Harmony was intended to accommodate businesses of all sizes. If you happen to be working with a client who has a serious graphic design department who know their business, that's a lucky break. You could probably just log into their website for a high-resolution logo, product photos, as well as graphics relating to current ad campaigns. They might even be familiar enough with the world of digital signage to just hand you complete audio-video presentations that you could just upload directly to Harmony and go. For our demonstrations, we're going to assume that you aren't working with that kind of client. We're going to be building a sign for a nightclub whose owners don't really use computers much and don't remember who designed their logo and don't do much in the way of print or video advertising. We're also going to assume that you don't have Photoshop, Illustrator, Flash, Fireworks, or any other kind of high-end graphic design or video editing programs. We're going to be working entirely with PowerPoint, the Harmony Show Builder, and a few free, easy online tools. If you don't even have PowerPoint, don't despair. Just head over to openoffice.org where they make a completely free version of PowerPoint that they call Impress. It has most of the same features and won't cost you a dime. If you're more adventurous and want to try out some real image manipulation, there's another piece of software out there called GIMP, G-I-M-P, that's pretty much comparable to Photoshop, and it's also free. Now that we have the tools we need at our disposal, it's time to think about the purpose of our digital sign. In the left side navigation of harmony.request.com, there's a link to Harmony Ideas. This just gives you a head start on a few different implementations of digital signage. Is our sign going to be a menu of services, or maybe just loop some advertisements for our vendors or promote some upcoming events? After you've settled on a purpose for the sign, you can decide whether you want your show to be landscape or portrait. Lots of hotels and banks have begun turning their digital signage screens sideways to create a tall poster-like look, and the Harmony Show Builder will support that in portrait mode. If you're using graphic design software, our landscape mode screens are set to 1280 pixels by 720 pixels. In PowerPoint, if you want to set that up, it would be 13.34 inches by 7.5 inches. But if you don't feel like memorizing that, you can just log into the Harmony system, click Tools and Downloads on the left, and here you can see a variety of templates that we've already designed. There's a bunch of fictional companies just to give you some ideas of some things you could do, or there's a blank template at the bottom that's already set up to the proper size. So now let's take a look at my in-progress PowerPoint for our nightclub sign. I put this together completely in PowerPoint. You can see that I've paid some attention to keeping the fonts consistent and easy to read. You want to keep the main ideas large so that people can see them at a distance. I've given some consideration to the color schemes and trying to keep that consistent. Some companies have a busier or more open-ended looking corporate identity, so you might just have to match the mood to the client. The images in the background were taken from another free website called the Stock Exchange. Check out sxc.hu. And they have tons of high-quality print resolution photos and illustrations. Most of them are free. You can also dig around in Google image search for logos and images related to larger vendors, but try to keep in mind that some of that stuff is copyrighted and technically probably not free to use. But you can use beer logos and things like that you find in the higher res category. While you're laying out your signs, try to think of each slide of your PowerPoint as a frame of animation. Once you upload all this stuff to Harmony, there's all kinds of transitions and fades and wipes that you can use to make these things look animated. So now that you have these frames built, I'm going to go up and hit Save As, and then drag down the pull down to see Ping. You can choose JPEG, Ping, or GIF. I prefer Pings just because they tend to be higher quality and they also have real transparency. None of these are transparent, but I'll talk about that in a minute. While you're gathering your materials to use for your digital signs, bear in mind that the Harmony system can only accept a few certain types of file types. There's no real need to memorize this because when you go to the upload screen, it actually shows you the list of file types. But you just try to keep in mind while you're working that you want to stick to PNGs, GIFs, and JPEGs for your still images. The Tools and Downloads section of our website also contains a free link to a video converter that will let you convert your videos to the proper file types if you're not already in that file type, so don't worry about that so much. Now let's go back to the Harmony system and take a quick look at the digital signage media management system. You can see it's kind of laid out like Windows Explorer with some folder navigation on the left and larger graphical folders on the right. You can click through these folders to see your various files. Also on the left is a pane marked Playlists. We'll get to that in a minute. This is sort of the backbone of the system, so spend a little time clicking around and getting used to that interface. Now we want to upload the ping graphics we made out of PowerPoint. So go up to Digital Signage and Add Video and Images. This is a pretty simple page. You can pick a folder from the Media Manager that you want to upload your files to, or you can make a new one. So I'm going to make a new one called Nightclub, and then click to upload files. Here's my pings, and I'm going to hit OK. Now you can see some status bars going on. We'll just wait for those to finish. Once they're done, I can go up to Digital Signage and click Shows. You can see we have a bunch in here already. Let's click Add Show, and now we're in the Harmony Show Builder. The black box is where you're going to be working all the magic. We try to make this similar to PowerPoint to reduce the learning curve. It has all the same click and drag sort of manipulation features. You can see that there's a toolbar up at the top. You can drag that around if you want. I usually just leave it where it is. So let's click the Image tool, and we get a little placeholder. Click on Select Media, and now you're back in the Media Manager. What we want to do now is take all three of those slides that we made and make them play in the same spot, one after the other, sort of like a slideshow. So we're going to build a playlist. Click on New in the playlist pane, and we'll call this playlist Nightclub Events. Then I browse over to my main Nightclub folder on the right, and there's my three images. So I just drag those one at a time over to the Nightclub Events list on the left. Once all the frames are over there, you can drag them around in different orders. If you want to change the order up, that's okay. Once you're done, hit Select, and now you can see it in place. I have a nice big graphic. It takes up the entire screen. You have some options to work with here. This playlist will now animate automatically. If you do nothing, it'll set hard transitions one after another. But you can actually change the transitions around. You can do some fades and dissolves and wipes. And you can also set the timing. I tend to think crossfades look the best, so I use those a lot. Then you can click on the Advanced if you want to see some pixel-specific information. You can change the size and position of the image using exact numbers here. This is actually especially handy if you've designed a full screen image, because you can just hit 0 and 0 in the top part to align it to the top left, and then you know it's all in the right spot. You also see a checkbox here for fixed aspect ratio. Well, let's save this time for now and take a quick moment to do a fixed aspect ratio demonstration. You can see here that I've selected some dogs. One is a square, one is short and wide, and one is tall and narrow. I put together a playlist over here on the right that cycles through these dogs. With fixed aspect ratio checked, all three images will maintain their shapes. They'll stay proportional, they'll look correct, but they will all fit into the spot designated by the first frame. So that first frame was a square, and let's just say it's 300 pixels by 300 pixels. So the other images try to fit into that box with the correct proportions. But if I uncheck fixed aspect ratio, things change a little bit. Now you can see that the tall, narrow dog stretches out to fit the square, becoming kind of distorted and wide, and something similar happens to the short, wide dog. If you are working with a few images that are not all the same size but are close, just a few pixels different here and there, you can easily fix that by just unchecking that box, and they'll all stretch out a little bit, but it probably won't be too noticeable. Other than that, you might want to just keep in mind that this is how things work. If you're not happy with this solution of different size graphics scrolling in a different way, you can actually go over to a website that we found called picresize.com. This will let you resize your graphics so that they're all the same size. Here you can see I've uploaded one of my files. I can drag out a box to crop it if I want, or I can specify numerically down below the size that I want. If I did this with the same numbers for all my graphics, then they'd all be the same size. And when I put them in a playlist, there would be no distortion. Another way to make sure that all your images for a certain playlist are the right size is to build them from the beginning in PowerPoint. Our nightclub wanted to dedicate a section of their sign to promote some of the drinks they serve, so I laid out some beer logos one frame at a time in PowerPoint. Now I know that once I save these out as pings, they'll all be the right size, so I'm safe. But if you happen to be lucky enough to own PowerPoint 2010, you can do something else. You can go up to the Transitions tab, and you can add some fades and wipes and transitions between frames right here. You can actually go pretty nuts doing all kinds of PowerPoint animated things. If you know how to use PowerPoint, you can really do a lot in here. And then if you go up to Save As and select WMV, now you have a movie. you don't have to do any of the ping stuff in Harmony. You have already made a movie that does whatever you want. So I've uploaded that movie already to Harmony, along with another one that promotes liquor using the same kind of layout. So I'm going to make a video playlist. I'm going to drag both of those videos over to a new playlist that I'm going to call Nightclub Drinks. I'll drag each video over there one after the other, and now those two videos will cycle back and forth. So I click select, and you can see that I have a nice big video. So I grab the little green handles, shrink it down to size, and put it in the right spot. Now if I click preview, you can see that we're already most of the way there. We have some nice fading transitions and eye-catching animations going on already. But Harmony is all about electrifying your brand, so we naturally want to add the Nightclub's logo in here someplace. But they don't really have a logo. So you could make them a logo in PowerPoint. There's all kinds of shadows and gradients and things that you could do with text in PowerPoint. So you could try that and just put that same logo into each frame of your original events animation. Or if you don't like that option, you can actually go to a website we found called cooltext.com. Here you can see they have a ton of fiery, metallic, crazy letter schemes you can choose from. I picked a chrome one. I went with kind of a retro font to go with the new wave 80s theme of this particular sign. Then I set the font nice and big to be at 140. Then at the bottom I made sure to select ping with transparency, because that'll make a graphic where all the background, there's no background behind this. It'll be blank. So it'll actually look like the shadow is over whatever it is that you lay it over, without any sort of a white box or whatever that you would normally get when you save an image off the web. So just save this image to your hard drive, upload it to Harmony, and we're ready to go. I've already uploaded it, so I click on Image, select Media, and this adds my logo to the sign, and now we have a logo that sits nicely in the corner while all the other animations play. While we're dragging this around, let's take a quick look at a couple of the other Harmony tools. If you click on the Grid button, your design will be overlaid with a grid, and anything that you drag around will adhere to that grid. If you click Snap, you'll see faint lines that show you wherever your object is correctly lining up with other objects in the frame, so you can make things line up together. You also have Undo, Redo, those do what you would expect, and a tool for rectangles. Let you make a block of color. You can specify the color any way you want, then you can drag the green handles to make it any size and shape you want, as long as it's a rectangle or a square. Another thing that we've been doing with a few signs lately is adding in QR codes. If you Google QR code generator, you'll find a bunch of sites that let you make these. You've probably seen them in some magazine ads, some print ads, maybe on some posters and sides of buses. They also work in digital signs. If your client has a Facebook or a Twitter, you've seen like us on Facebook, or you follow us on Twitter, or if they have a YouTube channel or any kind of online presence, you just put that URL in the QR code generator and you get one of these strange square barcode type things. Save this to your hard drive, upload it to Harmony, and you can just put it wherever it makes sense. You could put a little thing that says like us on Facebook with that QR code next to it, and if any of the patrons of this establishment point their smartphones at that QR code, it'll take their phone right to the website that you specified. So that's pretty handy. So our sign looks pretty good so far, but I want to add a little extra pizzazz. So let's head over to another website called movietools.info. You can see that they have a bunch of interesting abstract video backgrounds. They have all kinds of news data looking backgrounds and swirling energy vortexes and whatever. Of course, they're all free. So I grabbed this purple energy one, and I've already uploaded it. So when selecting one of these, you probably want to keep in mind that Harmony is the Harmony player is sort of a widescreen format, so maybe grab the wide ones rather than the 4x6 looking ones there. So then I click on Video, I click Select Media, and as I hover over my video, you can see that I get a little 3-frame animated preview. That helps you keep track of which things are graphics and which ones are videos. So I select it, and now it's on top of everything, and it's huge. So I click Send to Back. I resize all my other graphics to sit on top of it. And now you can see that I have sort of